Our first witness is Mr. Matthew Bellina. Mr. Bellina is a former U.S. Navy aviator, retiring at the rank of lieutenant commander. He received his commission in 2005 after graduating from Virginia Tech. In April 2014, he was diagnosed with ALS. He is a husband and a father of 2 boys, with one more on the way. Mr. Bellina.
And if your family, any of your family are here and you'd like to introduce them, please do, okay? And that's for all the witnesses.
Thank you so much, senators, and thank you for having me. I would like to introduce my family. My kids are the ones that were making noise while you were speaking. I apologize.
I would have been afraid when my boys were their ages to have brought them to a hearing like this.
Yeah, it was risky, but I didn't want them to.
They're doing great.
So it was Caitlin, JP, and Kip back there.
Would you all raise your hands? Would you raise your hands, please, kids? Yeah, there you go.
And there's an unknown baby on the way as well.
All right,
named as yet.
That's good.
Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you, Senator. So last night when I was laying in bed, I was uncharacteristically nervous about this. Senator Carper, as somebody who's worked in naval aviation, you can understand that we're not usually nervous about things. But I felt a great burden to speak on behalf of, all terminal patients. How do you do that? And then a kind of calm washed over me because I realized that this isn't a class or a group of people that, we can all lump together. We're talking about individuals, and they have individual needs, individual hopes, and individual dreams. And I don't have the right to speak on their behalf or make decisions for them, and neither does anybody else in this room. So I think the first thing I want to clarify is that I'm proud of the FDA gold standard. I'm proud of what the FDA does. I'm proud that American medicine is the best in the world. And I would never, ever want them to relax those standards for any reason. I think that that's an important distinction. We're not trying to undermine the FDA. This is a situation where we're asking for a very specific carve-out for a very small exception that doesn't necessarily, well, it doesn't cost us any money. I'm not asking that, to build a wall. I'm talking about making an exception for people that really need it. I'm so happy, Senator Carper, that you mentioned compassionate use. I'd like to commend the FDA. I think they've done an excellent job of doing everything within their regulatory power to, approve things. But unfortunately, the data has a bit of a sample bias. I think there was 1,000 approved this year. There were 12,000 in France. If that gives you any idea, there's not that many people applying, and I think it has a lot to do with the reporting requirement. No pharmaceutical in their right mind would give me a drug compassionately, because if I have an adverse event, which, I'm an ALS patient, let's face it, I probably will, they have to report that to the FDA, and it's going to jeopardize, their standing and their trial. We are dealing, in this case, with heterogeneous diseases that are not a single cause. ALS is a perfect example. There are, I think, 39 known genetic mutations for ALS. That only makes up 10% of the overall cases. The other 90% are sporadic, and they're largely veterans. We don't know why. People who have worked in aviation are likely about 8 times as likely to get ALS. So when you run an FDA trial, as we're doing them now, you're throwing, at best, 400 people into a room together, giving them a small molecule, and hoping to get a result. Well, the data is, it's kind of garbage in, garbage out. We're not getting good data. And we need to move towards personalized medicine in these cases. I feel that, right to try may not be exactly, the end goal, but it's a first down. We're moving the marker towards, doctors, patients, pharmaceuticals being able to look at patients as individual patients. And I think that's a really important step. It's an ideological thing. I've heard the argument that, we'll risk side effects, but, as you can tell, I'm struggling here. at some point in the near future, I'm going to suffocate under the weight of my chest, you know. So, you know, what difference at this point does it make for me to have a side effect? And so I think that, you know, when you're talking about toenail fungus or, you know, psoriasis, yeah, you know, we need to be concerned about that. But where I'm sitting, it's a totally different story. The other thing some bioethicists have talked about is, you know, false hope. You know, do we want to give terminal patients false hope? Well, I don't really think there's such a thing, because right now we have no hope. So it's either, you know, hope or no hope. And this bill, it doesn't do everything, but it moves us in the direction of having a little bit of hope. And, you know, I think that it's very consistent with what the FDA is doing right now. I commend them on, you know, the Sarepta approval was fantastic, but, you know, we need to open things up, you know, for the market to be able to kind of correct for itself and allow the pharmaceutical companies to not have to worry about, you know, negative action against them if they're trying to do something good.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.